Hello and welcome to another, I don't even know what to call this one because it is just another movie day, I suppose. But I have company with me this time. I have the lovely Trey with me. So obviously with our matching little outfits, our little dinosaur outfits, we went to see End of Oak Street, a movie written by David Robert Mitchell, who wrote and directed other movies like It Follows. He did Under the Silver Lake, which I haven't seen. Have you seen?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
No.
But you've seen It Follows, and
I love It Follows.
We quite like that one. That one's pretty good. Us sort of being like dino nerds, it's like this is one just a tad. Like this is one we were quite excited about, given how poorly the Jurassic franchise has been going, and like we've had a really good hit with Primitive War, so
love that. Yeah,
so there is hope for us, and I guess we were sort of hoping that End of Oak Street would sort of continue that
train of good dinosaur movies.
Exactly, train of good dinosaur movies. So I suppose the premise is like there's a mysterious I guess science experiment or anomaly, or just some things happen in this town, road of Oak Street. It seems it teleports like small, first off, like very small sections of like
a garden, right?
Yeah, in one instance there was a random tree that just appeared that hasn't been there for like 200 something million years.
Yeah.
So it starts off with like very small things, like just transporting things back and forth. But obviously it's not just sending things back in time, it's sending things from the past to the present. Thus why this old lady has this really old tree in her garden. So it seems like it's swapping
like a piece in time with another timeline.
Yes. Yeah. That's sort of the idea you get, and when it gets to like a bit more of a grander scale, then it's like, okay, it sends this street into the past, where there is numerous different dinosaurs. What were your thoughts on the design of the dinosaurs?
So, well, they're very hairy, is one thing I'll say.
Yeah.
So we know that quite a few dinosaurs had feathers.
Yes.
And we'd certainly see that in more modern sort of like showings of dinosaur movies. Like raptors had feathers. Yeah. Some tyrannosaurs had feathers. But every single dinosaur in this movie was hairy.
Yeah. Like, I think there was that one scene where you just saw this ball of hair brushing up against like a window.
Yes.
And originally I thought, oh, maybe this is going to be like a Therizinosaurus.
Yes.
Or I thought it was going to be like a Dinochirus.
Mm-hmm. That
or
kind
something
of shaggy, hairy, almost like woolly mammoth kind of fur.
Yeah, something that you would expect to have that.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like all the dinosaurs had this. I think there was maybe a couple of exceptions, like the Spinosaurus didn't have.
It had some. It kind of had fuzz.
A little fuzz.
And one of the sauropods was just covered in this like shaggy coat, which was an interesting choice. I'm not sure I liked it.
It was
a choice.
It's a very interesting design choice. I don't know if the writer is going based off any current science, given the dinosaurs that are featured and dinosaurs that are from completely different times.
Yes.
Like, I think that's one thing. Like, if you have like no knowledge on any sort of dinosaurs and like where like time periods they belong, they really mess it up in this one, where you have like things like the Spinosaurus, which is from the Cretaceous period, Allosaurus from the Jurassic, your boy. Titanoboa from the Permiocene.
Isn't even in the Mesozoic era.
It's afterwards. So it's like, why are these creatures in the same timeline? Unless they're gonna make an excuse that it's teleporting things from these different times, but there's no like example. It doesn't really show that. There's no showing like any information suggesting that. It's just being zapped to the past, and this is what the past is.
Yeah, because you sort of see the street kind of get encased in this like orb or this like bubble.
Yeah.
And it's sort of completely swapped out with another sort of portion in time.
Yeah.
And they just sort of land in the middle of this like prehistoric jungle, essentially.
Yeah.
So if it's one specific moment in time, or two rather, that are being swapped, it doesn't really make sense that there are mixed dinosaurs in that spot.
Yeah.
Because like it's either the Jurassic period or it's the Cretaceous, whereas we're getting a mix here, which is a bit of a plot hole, I think I'm gonna say.
It is a bit like, whereas films like Jurassic Park, they can get away with this from having like mixed dinosaurs because, you know, they're taking fossils from these different time periods and creating these hybrids.
Splicing DNA.
And like, I suppose Primitive War, they sort of get away with it, where it's dinosaurs. It's more fantastical setting where there's dinosaurs in this
like a remote island.
Where it's like, okay, we know this is obviously not plausible, but you know, it's just I guess fantastical version of it. You know, they're not dinosaurs from any specific timeline. It's just like, this is fantasy setting where there just so happens to be dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one specifically, they're getting zapped into a very specific time, and that's when you expect, like, okay, they're gonna follow the rules of there being certain dinosaurs. Like you got Allosaurus, then you got Stegosaurus
in the Jurassic.
Like if you're sticking to Jurassic, then feature
Jurassic dinos.
Dinosaurs from the Jurassic period. And if they just stuck with that, then it's like, okay, you know, you're not insulting the intelligence of people that actually enjoy dinosaurs. This movie, it isn't that. I don't think it is catered for dino nerds. I think it's catered more for just people that want to have like I guess enjoy a monster movie. Like
a cool dino flick.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily generic, accurate.
Yes. So I suppose the sort of plot of the movie is, you know, we're following this family. What were your thoughts on like the family itself? Like, were these characters that you enjoyed, or like when you're a fan of them?
I mean, the dad was a little bit annoying, only because his mentality was, I guess this is our life now. And whereas the mother figure, who's played by Anne Hathaway, you know, she was very much like, no, we need to be realistic about this. We're in a pretty shitty situation. We need to like figure out a plan and like not lie to our kids. And I just liked her practical nature, whereas the dad was a bit more whimsical and of like, well, what will be will be. If you get eaten, that was just meant to be. Which the kids weren't annoying either, and I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, usually when you do have any sort of kid characters in most movies, you just pray that they're not going to be insufferable.
Yes.
And they're going to be the kind where they get you into more trouble than getting out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because usually that's in some of these movies where they do feature kids, it's like they're a plot device to make situations worse and not better. And I don't feel like they made situations worse. Like usually with this family, they sort of just stick together.
They were quite smart. Yeah. I mean, there is one moment where the young boy sees his dog who has been missing, and he sees the dog in the garden, and then is then being chased by a dinosaur, and then he goes out running after the dog.
Yeah.
But that's the only sort of really questionable decision he makes, but that's really understandable because it's like emotion based, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, I thought they were really good. They were decent characters.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I didn't find Greg, played by Ewan McGregor, I don't find him insufferable. I thought, you know, this being set in the 80s, he's kind of like a typical 80s dad where, you know, he likes a bit of a drink. It was, you know, him and the mum, they're having issues, and potentially looking to
Divorce is on the cards.
Divorce is on the cards, and then the kids, they're like, oh, mum and
They
dad
know.
gonna get a divorce.
Yeah,
they have an idea that they might get divorced. I guess, going through this, the dad doesn't stay around for very long. He does get eaten by an Allosaurus.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'll put a title at the beginning just
be like, spoiler.
Spoilers. So Ewan McGregor's character gets killed by an Allosaurus. Then there's this, I guess, weird mourning process where Anne Hathaway's character is sort of trying to memorialize him with this picture she took of him where there's like two sauropods banging.
Yeah, like, should we address that? That's I feel like it's so, considering this movie sort of markets itself as a survival sci-fi.
Yes.
It definitely has horror elements.
Yes.
And so in the midst of them running for their lives from dinosaurs and, trying to survive, they come across two very large sauropods who are mating. And yes, there's a bit of a jokey moment between the husband and wife about that, because, I mean, when would you normally see that? But then Anne Hathaway's character asks the husband to step, like, in front of the sauropods while she takes a photo.
Yeah.
To memorialize that moment. And it just seems a bit out of left field, because if she wanted to just take a photo of the sauropods, having a bash, she could have, but I don't understand why she wanted him. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because they were bitterly arguing throughout the whole movie, and then suddenly she's like, oh, well, I want to take a photo of you with the humpy dinosaurs. It was an odd moment.
Yeah, especially with them like sort of always bickering and they having these problems, and almost, I guess, to the point where she's falling out of love for him. Usually that's what happens when people get divorced, is they no longer love each other. But for some reason it's like, I want to take a picture of you in front of these two dinosaurs banging. And it's like, okay, a bit of a weird turn. So why? So I don't know if it's because J.J. Abrams was an executive producer. I don't know if he said like, oh, can we have like a little lighthearted scene with something, and just sort of telling David Mitchell to be like, can we just have this one lighthearted scene? And it's like, yeah, I got you, JJ.
Yeah.
And for some reason they just included this, which I thought was a bit of it was a bit of an awkward scene. Like, I think probably one of the very few movies where they actually show dinosaurs banging.
I think so.
I think
one of the few. That's not a documentary.
It's not a documentary, but like one of the very few actual films where they just show dinosaurs banging. I was like, okay, that's an interesting take.
It felt a little unnecessary, and it felt like it only served the purpose for her to have some memento to remember him by as soon as he died.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? Like,
yes.
It was interesting. It was a choice.
Yeah, like it was a very odd scene, and like it doesn't make sense for the characters for it to happen. If you're having these characters that are having issues, why have this sort of lighthearted scene? And like pretty much the moment he dies, they're very distraught by it. I mean, understandably, you just saw your dad die, or your ex,
quite brutally.
Quite brutally
Allosaurus
as well.
ate him.
Yeah, right in front of them.
Not even whole. It was like kind of devouring him.
Well, if it did grab him by the leg, then slam him down.
Yeah, and then just just
chomp.
Yeah, kind of went to town.
Which is a bit brutal.
Yeah, not that you see it though. It does cut away from, because the movie's a 12A.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or was it a 15? I can't remember. I'll put a card up and just say. But you do see, there is like blood. There is blood around. You do see like dead bodies on the street.
You do.
Like, it doesn't pull away from like any very light gore, like, but with like sort of the more heavier things, like people getting eaten or somewhat, they sort of turn away from that. Were there any particular scenes that really sort of stood out to you and you thought, yeah, this was really cool?
I mean, a lot of the horror setup I thought was fantastic. So when you see the trees rustling and you just hear, like, there's really good noise, sort of sound design in the movie, and a lot of the really spooky elements were obviously when you don't see a dinosaur on camera, and you just hear things. So there's a lot of like stomping, a lot of rustling. My main favorite will just be seeing the Allosaurus on screen.
Sure. Yeah.
It had such a unique design, and anytime it was on screen, I loved it because Allosaurus is my favorite. Yeah, all the horror elements of the survival part of the movie, I think, are my favorite.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I mean, it's very cool to actually see a movie have an Allosaurus because Allo seems to get forgotten about quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I know in the Jurassic World franchise, it's shown a couple. I mean, Allo is sort of the main antagonist in the Chaos Theory TV show.
It is.
Because that's what attacks Bailey? Or Beverly? Who's the...
Hang on. No.
Is it Brittany?
No, wait, hang on.
Jenna Ortega. Who was Jenna Ortega?
Brooklyn.
Oh, it was a B.
It was a B.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like the Allosaurus when it attacks Brooklyn
in Chaos Theory.
In Chaos Theory, you know, that's sort of like the main antagonist. But again, you don't really see the Allo that much. Like you see it in like flashbacks and stuff, but it's sort of like the cause of Brooklyn's trauma. Yeah,
whereas in this movie, the Allosaurus was very much the antagonist, because even though there is the presence of a Spinosaur, which does reasonable amounts of damage, interestingly, it doesn't show up as much as the Allo. The Allo is more relentless in chasing down the other characters, which is really interesting because the Spinosaur being the bigger dinosaur, you would assume that was like the villain of the show, of the movie.
Yeah.
But no, it was Allo. So it was an interesting take, and I very much appreciated it.
How do you feel that, you know, like with the Allo design, like were you a fan of how the Allo looked?
Yes and no. So I loved how bulky it looked. Seems like its arms were a little bit shorter than normal. Didn't mind that too much. But again, it also had this very sort of almost hairy, shaggy coat to it, but also it was quite like fleshy in the face.
Yes.
And again, a really interesting design. Not something I necessarily want to see again, but I appreciate the direction they went in.
Yeah. No, they went into some interesting designs, especially the Titanoboa. I think with that going through the house, I think was one of my favorite scenes, because you just had this shot of the boy doing,
just like slinks out of the window through the window.
It just slithers on in and it just travels on throughout the house,
like silently,
very quietly, and it's like the skin of it's almost sort of like skin-like and wrinkly, and it's veiny, and it's very grotesque looking.
It doesn't look like it has a lot of scales. It's very almost human skin-like with its wrinkles and veins and
but I'm
questionable looks.
I'm just guessing it being sort of a swampy creature, if that was sort of the design it was going for, because you know, with some species of snake that do live in like more swampy areas, they are a bit more on the wrinklier side. So I'm guessing that's sort of what they were going for. But yeah, even like with some of the dinosaurs, they had that sort of fleshy sort of skin look to it rather than super scaly. So it was an interesting design choice. The Spinosaurus in this one did not have a paddle tail.
That's true. I wonder why they did that.
So I don't know what inspired them to go with it was more JP3 design.
Yes, it had its like iconic sail. It just didn't have its paddle tail, which we know is more scientifically accurate for Spinosaur.
So I thought that was an interesting design for it. This is not only just like, you know, I guess things being teleported and, you know, rifts happening, or not, like sort of rifts happening and transporting one thing to another, but it also seems to mess with, I guess it's like also time based, because when our family does eventually find a rift that they want to get through. When they do get through it, it's 20 minutes before their street gets transported back in time. How do you feel about that? Like with...
Yeah, so it's interesting because the movie sort of tells the audience that these kind of like bubbles in time will kind of randomly appear and then disappear because they're really unstable. So when the family find like another bubble that they can sort of see into like through the bubble and into the street, and they think, well, that's going to take them back home. And so when they do eventually do that towards the end of the movie, they find themselves 20 minutes just before everything went down. It sort of left, I don't know, it feels like it was left with a bit of a time paradox, because considering when they were transported, they went back in time to the prehistoric era, whichever one they'd chosen.
Yes.
So their little street was swapped with a different piece of prehistoric time, and they went back in time.
Yes.
The father died, and then they went back 20 minutes, technically, to when it all happened.
Yes.
But then surely the father, having died millions of years ago, technically, would no longer be alive. But he is, and they managed to contact him and save him, so he does remain alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's quite a large plot hole in terms of time travel.
Yeah, like I think with any sort of movie talking about time travel, it can be very messy. Like there's all sorts of different rules. I think what we know about time travel, if they went 20 minutes before their street disappeared, that when they call up Greg and say, can you come out to this location and deliver a pizza, he just comes along and then does it, and then it's like, oh, Dad, and then they surprise him by just seeing him, and he's just like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
Then, not only that, they called up all their other neighbors and told them to get out as well. But at the same time, it's like, at the beginning of the movie, all these events should have happened as well. I think if they really wanted to do this time thing at the beginning of the movie, before the town gets rifted away, Greg should have got a phone call. It's like, oh, can you come deliver a pizza to this location? He's like, sorry, love, I have to go deliver a pizza. And then he leaves. Then once they get zapped, and then it's just them on the mum and the two kids on their own. And then when it's coming to the end, like near to the end of the movie, when they go back into the rift 20 minutes before it happens, they're the ones that make the call. And then it's that loop. And to me, with time travel, that makes the most sense. Where, if the dad's gone before and then he appears, when they call the dad out, they're still present, their version still at home.
Well, I guess we don't know that, right? Like that's very much, we're speculating when the original family come back 20 minutes before everything happens.
Yeah.
Like we're never told, or the audience isn't told other versions of them still exist in that timeline. So we don't know. There could be like another wife and kids out in their house, and they just managed to call the dad to save him from being caught up in this anomaly. So I don't know, that's a bit harrowing to think that they just wanted to save the dad and other versions of them still get transported.
But he does recognize them though. When they call him out, then he's like, what are you guys doing here? He's not like surprised, like, who are you sort of thing. Like he recognizes them and knows who they are, and she gives him a kiss, and it's like nothing's changed. So going by that logic, there is a version of them in that moment, and then they get zapped back. But if they get zapped into the past without Greg, then the course of events could have gone completely differently. Where Greg may have not been able to help him in certain situations, someone could have died, and then that, like, you're creating paradoxes.
Yes.
and it can get really messy. So I think if they really want to do this, I mean, I'm not a big fan of time travel in most movies. I think very few exceptions where I think time travel is acceptable, but I think time travel is sort of a cop-out to sort of like fix mistakes.
Or kind of, paper over plot holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think in this movie, I think that the whole time travel thing is just another plot hole. Instead of like just it being riffs, it seems like time portals.
That's how they explained it, wasn't it? It was like this time portal, but instead of you necessarily needing to go through it, because they refer to it as tremors. When the tremor got so big, this orb or this portal ended up engulfing the entire town.
Yeah.
And then switching places with another point in time.
That is the thing. It's like, it's not just like making an entire street disappear. It's swapping different, like that whole area of time. So, you know, in this...
Yeah, because you see like on the kind of perimeter of where this time portal is, if there was like a tree, you almost see the tree like a very clean cut.
Yes.
Where that was like outside the border. And when they first get transported, you see like the immediate cliff edge just in the prehistoric jungle, because it's like this very clean cut that was transported.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It feels like a strange way to conceptualize time travel, where you're taking an entire piece of the land and then moving it like back in time.
Yeah, but then not only swapping it with the past to that present, because it's not just leaving like a crater. Like it's basically flipping it so that chunk of the past replaces that street.
Yeah.
So then now in that present, you have just dinosaurs.
A small piece of like dinosaurs just walking around.
And you know they sort of, I guess they sort of really gloss over it, what happens to the dinosaurs, but it's like they just either get shot or
they do mention they were captured or killed.
Captured or killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess some of the more dangerous dinosaurs were killed, and then the ones that were not as dangerous were captured and studied, I suppose.
Probably experimented on and to make a new Jurassic Park.
Humans doing a shitty human thing.
Yeah.
I do feel somewhat of a disappointment, because I think looking like of what people were saying about this movie, I thought like people were saying it's like this is the next Jurassic Park.
There was a lot of hype on the internet about this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both been dodging spoilers for over a week. But the general consensus was this is it. This is the dinosaur movie of the year.
Yes.
I don't think it lives up to the hype. I thought it was pretty average. It maybe like a solid 6 out of 10. I'd probably watch it again. I do think it has rewatchability, but I don't think it's anywhere near like a top favorite for me.
Yeah, like would you rather watch Jurassic World Rebirth or End of Oak Street again?
Well, that's no contest. I would watch Oak Street 100 times over.
I agree. I think you nailed it quite on. I will probably give End of Oak Street a 6 out of 10 as well. That's what I'll probably score it. It is a little bit above average. Like it's messy, you know, a few inaccuracies like with the dinosaurs and just like timey-wimey messy stuff. Other than that, I think it's a pretty okay movie.
It's digestible.
Yeah. You know, if you just want a dumb dino flick, then you know I think it's okay to watch. But you know, if you're looking for like accuracies and all that, this is not going to be the movie.
It's definitely not the next biggest IP to replace Jurassic World. So yeah, there's still a gap.
There's still, you know, more. Us dino nerds, we're still yearning for more of that, like any good IPs. Like thankfully there is a sequel to Primitive War, so we're getting that, and I think there's also a series.
Yeah, it's like I think Cowboys. It's like Dinosaur Cowboys. Like,
Dinosaur Cowboys, which would be pretty cool. End of Oak Street, I think, is a pretty good start for just things that are not Jurassic World.
Yes, I think that's one thing the dino fandom need to be thankful for, is that there are people who are making dinosaur content.
Yes.
Because obviously Jurassic Park / World franchise has held a monopoly for such a long time, and we've been yearning. We've just been yearning for something different, and this is very different.
Yes.
So if anything, I'm thankful for that. I'm glad people are thinking of dinosaur ideas to make movies, to make film, to make TV series. So as long as that keeps happening, then we're only progressing in the right direction.
I agree. Very, very good words. I couldn't say it any better than myself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think, and thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.